All right, well, here we go. The first official episode of the, tentatively named If You Know, You Know podcast discussing season two, episode one of Survivor Southampton. So very excited. Obviously, we're back with the Postmaster General, Mike Price. Already one torch snuffed in Survivor Southampton. Very sad to see that this particular player go. And on this journey with me is Survivor Southampton season one veteran and Survivor Southampton season two fledgling competitor Lenny Greenfield, who has already survived one tribal council.
Great start to the game for me. Very well done.
All right, well, I very much look forward to getting into it. So first of all, I will say just a disclaimer. I just want to put it out there. Everyone that we discuss, everyone that played the game, so much love for all of you. It was absolutely great that you all came to play. I hope you had good fun. When we discuss you now, we're not taking any jabs at you personally, only jabs at potential gameplay, and all in the spirit of good fun.
Oh, I was going to get very personal, but I won't.
Oh, okay, well, feel free to pull it out.
Fine.
That's yeah,
That's
we can sort of do a good cop, bad cop
gonna
kind of
take. I
thing.
was going to take some shots at Faris.
Okay, all right. Well, we haven't quite found our feet here as a podcast or discussion, but yeah, maybe it will. Maybe it will get really personal. Um, I feel like you're quite safe up in Leeds, but I might take a couple of hits before I leave Southampton. Let's get straight into it. Shall I discuss the way that I sorted the tribes first of all?
Yeah, I
Um,
think that would be interesting.
all right, let me share my spreadsheet here to start off with. So I very much had to base it off. So we had six returning players to this game. So we obviously had Lenny, we had Big Dog, we had Noel, we had Slaw, we had Oscar and Max.
Yeah,
There they are. Okay, so it was, and obviously because all these players know each other, with the exception of Slaw, who only really knew the people from season one. So I very much had to split it based off that. So as you can see, I started off. You got Noel and Lenny at the top of the list. Obviously, based off last season, I couldn't start you two on the same tribe, so that would have just been way too unfair. So that was very much the
yeah,
basis for this. Then, as we heard all year, and as you said at one point yourself, Noel is a big fan of Will and Isaac. Obviously, he's looking for any excuse to work with them. Um, so I had to split them up. I couldn't put Noel with them. That would have been way too unfair. So that
yeah. I
was
was worried about that before the start of the game. To be honest with you, them being on the same tribe, the thought of it scared me.
yeah. And then likewise, I couldn't put you with Max and Oscar because you worked with them last season.
Yeah,
So they're both immediately on that tribe. Then it was kind of based off the remaining players. There are a few people that I couldn't put together based on like how close they were in general. So like Sock and Lucy, I obviously had to put on opposite tribes because that would have been a bit unfair. Also, I felt like regardless, like whatever tribe I put Sock on, he's just going to get voted off first. So like it doesn't really matter. You're really just throwing him to the wolves. I think also there was like a kind of Holly, Faris, Zal, Archie. Like I definitely couldn't put all of them together. I definitely had to split those two and two. I think I felt like Holly would definitely work with Faris if they were together, so I had to split them up. And then I think the same with Zal and Archie. So that was the reason why I did it in that particular orientation. I basically didn't want to like land anyone with like an automatic person that they'll definitely work with above everyone
yeah,
else.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I wanted to make it a bit fairer. Yeah, then at this point I had Holly and oh yeah, because we had a bit of a slight gender imbalance. So I stuck Divya on the Ruber tribe because to me that looked like the stronger tribe physically. I gave you Big Dog, so you're welcome. That one was just
Yeah.
a bit of a toss up because it's just like, yeah, well, where are we going to land Big Dog? Strath was a bit of like an up in the air one, and then the others just kind of fitted in fairly naturally. So I think, yeah, there are a
Yeah, I
couple
guess
of
when you've
last
got
minute things.
six or seven sorted, you can just put them whenever.
Yeah, there are a couple of last minute changes that had to be made, which maybe we'll get into in future episodes.
What did you have
Um,
last did you have people drop out near the start or
no, there are a couple of people that were just like, oh, like at the last second, maybe I can't do it, or maybe this is all changed, which then meant that I did have to
oh okay.
switch. I had to switch a couple
Yeah.
of people over on like the day before, but
Yeah.
thankfully
Yeah.
it ended up not actually impacting the game at all.
That's
So
good.
yeah, I was hoping that they would be as evenly matched physically as I could manage it, and then as evenly matched strategically. So in most cases it kind of picked itself, and I think it made it as fair as I possibly could. So from your perspective, you're prepping for this game. You know it's probably going to be bigger than the season before. What's your mindset coming into Southampton season two?
I was not confident at all. Um, I thought after the last game, people were just gonna come for me straight away. Um, I think I said to you the night before that I thought I was just gonna go off like episode as soon as I got the chance, basically. So I was not really putting too much thought into it because I thought I was just screwed um, by, you know, a bad reputation that had built around me across the previous year and a bit. So, but luckily survives episode one.
Yeah, I mean, not without your name
But
getting thrown around a little bit, which we'll definitely come to. Yeah. So, what was your reaction to seeing people turn up one by one?
I think I was
Surely
quite.
most of the people you were sort of expecting them to be in the game or at least be asked. Were there any people that you thought would be there that weren't?
I was I was disappointed at lack of TG Robbo, but I knew he wasn't playing, and then I was very sad that there was no Rohan in the game. That's a man that I was looking forward to voting off. Um, just couldn't wait to send him send him packing really. But um, I think obviously Beth and Carolina not been there. I didn't. I expected them to be back. So I was a bit sad about that because I was going to, try and use them as a shield, even more votable off than I was. So yeah, very sad they did not turn up.
Yeah,
Or
if anyone's sitting at home wondering, oh, why wasn't that person in the game? Why wasn't that person in the game? Basically, anyone that you think should have been asked probably was asked and was just unavailable for whatever reason. Like Rohan, I think had a reason. Rachel, I think, was at a concert at the time. Beth had like friends over on that weekend. It was very frustrating to not have Beth. Carolina was also busy, but we did manage to get Slaw. Um, but yeah, so a couple of big misses. TG Robbo, of course, that one hurt. That one hurt.
yeah, yeah,
Um, however, so yeah, so that's our cast. Our crew was even better than last time. It's a similar composition of people, but we had a little bit more time. We had a bit more advance warning, and a lot more planning went into season two, as you could probably tell from the scale of the first couple of challenges straight away. So yeah, we've got Veronica as our lead production designer. Absolutely smashed it, I think. We thank her for the balloon arch, all of the little palm trees. Basically, everything that looked good was fully down to her.
okay, yeah. No, she very much smashed it. It was just a different level to the first season. Oh,
Mm,
it's just everything. Even the board with the names on it in that first challenge.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Bringing out Velcro, crazy.
Did it make you feel as if you were on a tropical island?
Almost, almost. As good as you can while still being at 6 Westridge Road, I'd say.
Yeah, yeah. Big credit to Veronica there. We also have Erin back as a camera person. Smashed it season one. Going to do
Brilliant.
a great job season two. Strong performance there. Also, we do get cameraman Liam for the first couple of rounds. I'll go into a little bit of you. Basically, if you're watching through the strategy session, you've got me filming a third of it, Erin filming a third, and Liam filming a third. You can always tell whenever Liam's filming. A lot of close-ups of people's faces. Lots of close-up of other people's faces when other people are talking. There's a few Liam classics in this season.
During the first challenge, Liam asking people how they were doing um, during the challenge, and you could tell they were just they were just so stressed out. It was just great. Really liked it.
Yeah, he's here for the first few rounds, so we get a few Liam classics this season. So you're coming into the game, you look around. Is there anyone straight off the bat that you're thinking I like to team with this person?
Yeah, big dog. I think. I mean, had a great year together last year. Became quite good friends, and then saw him turn up in his red. I think he was wearing a forest. I'm assuming he was wearing a forest top,
Yeah,
and
surely.
I was just I was quite excited by that prospect, to be honest. Yeah, I thought lots of likable people in my tribe as well. So I thought really most of them I'd be quite happy to work with, but big dog, that was the number one target.
Also, when I said at the start of the season, I said, "Welcome to Survivor." Nobody clapped. I had to start that round of applause and then edit that back, so it made it look like everyone clapped straight away. Absolute bastards. I was like, "Welcome to Survivor Sound season two." Then like paused for a bit, looked around, and then I was just like,
I was in the zone. I was in the zone.
"Yeah, that must have been it." And then thankfully, everyone joined in with the clap. And in the back of my mind, I was thinking, "Yeah, well, that's getting edited a bit." Absolute bastards. Um, Yeah, so the initial pairings for the first challenge. So this challenge is actually taken in some way from the TV show The Challenge, and instead of the people like the equivalent of like the players being upstairs in my room on the phone communicating, they're actually in the TV show The Challenge. They were like dangling over a lake, and if they got eliminated, they would be released and just drop into the lake. So unfortunately, we didn't have quite the budget to drop everyone out of my window. Maybe I should have said if you get eliminated, jump out the window rather than sit on the floor. Um,
Season three.
Season three, that's what we'll do. Yeah, so the pairs we've done fully randomly, with the exception of the because I had to do them across the tribes. When I pulled it randomly, I pulled Oscar and Archie together, and I thought if everyone from the start of the game is reminded of the fact that they're brothers, then it
Yeah.
might be a bit of an unfair target on their back. So I did switch those pairings. But yeah, so you find that you're put with Ben Roberts for the first challenge. How do you feel about that?
I didn't really think much of it, but he did cook up quite a good strategy, so I'll give him that. I think there was far worse people you could have got from that blue tribe.
Who do you think would have been the worst person that if you were with that person, you would have been guaranteed to be the first one eliminated?
Probably Max in that challenge. I don't know why they decided that Max should be downstairs, where he literally can't remember anything. One of the worst memories of anyone I've ever met, and it's trusted him to go around remembering what the symbols were. It's just ridiculous.
Also, Sock immediately spaffing his advantage by telling everyone.
Yeah, wouldn't expect anything else.
I've got a couple of notes. So at this point, we hear some of the opening confessionals. I just said yours, very funny. Obviously, immediately just slating everyone else in the game. Holly taking a shot at Ben Roberts was very funny. Um, Slaw, however, laying out his targets as you and Noel
Yeah.
in round one. Were you aware of this in round one that
No,
four had
I
your
was
number?
not. I was genuinely shocked by his confessionals that episode because he seemed quite lovely to me on the day. But yeah, I mean, I did vote him out for no reason the series before, so I can see why. If someone did that to me, I'd also want to vote them out. But yeah, didn't clock that during that
Um,
round.
Also, what did you think of when it panned to Will and Oscar, and Will's just going through saying team by team who's going to be no threat at all in the challenge?
I've got a lot of respect for that.
Will immediately calling out what Big Dog and Max, who admittedly were doing little to no planning. Then there was Lucy and Zhao and Billy and Faris. He was just like, these three teams are not going to be in any way good.
I mean, Billy and Faris were very quick. Unfortunately, though, not quick enough.
So you were obviously immediately taking out Faris and Billy. You just pipped them to the post there. Did you have your eye on Faris anyway, or was it the fact? Did you like feel him coming up behind you, and you're like, "Let me take him out"?
Yeah, it was literally just because he was stood behind me that I thought if I knock out anyone else, he's just going to immediately knock me out. So I think the real strategy in that challenge was to just be shit, to be honest. It didn't look like Zhao was doing a particularly good job um, at any point, and he won.
There was certainly a lot of luck involved there. Yeah, it's very circumstantial. It's a gamble being terrible, but maybe if you're like too obviously too far ahead, then yeah, people will just take you out. But it's definitely an interesting challenge. I think there's a lot of different ways to play it. What did you think of your initial strategy of you and Ben to pretend that you were doing terrible, and then seeing that Ben was upstairs clearly bragging about how well you were doing to everyone else?
Yeah, well, I mean, I was doing very well, so I'll be bragging about that too. But I probably should have. Was I allowed to just hold on to the like? Would I have been able to just tell Ben the codes and then try and tell you like two at once or three at once or something like
No, no, no.
that? No. In which case, yeah, I don't know. We just completely ignored that strategy as soon as the game started, I feel. But
Yeah,
if I could do
fair.
it again, maybe I'd give it a go. Just run around aimlessly, looking confused. But by the sound of it, Slaw would have fucking taken me out anyway. So
Oh, 100%. You were lucky though. He went for Noel first, and then
I
him and
was
Holly had
next.
yeah, yeah, you definitely would have been next. Also, I will say Noel trying to hack the challenge as per usual. I didn't even notice at the time. I think for some reason a lot of people were under the impression that I'd given everyone the exact same codes. So Noel's plan was to therefore do them in reverse order because he was just like, if everyone's going to the same ones at the same time, then that will like be irritating or something like that. So he did it in reverse. Unfortunately, when he gave me the code, he didn't tell me that he was just doing a different code. So at the time when I look at it, I was just like, no, that's nowhere near what you're supposed to get. If he'd have told me, oh, this is actually the third code, then maybe I would have been like, oh, okay, yeah, that counts. But either way, I don't understand what he was doing, and then he got
Just
eliminated
classic
by
Noel.
yeah, he got eliminated by Holly. So in his confessional, when he's just like, yeah, classic got screwed over in the first challenge, I actually cut the bit where he said, classic got screwed over by Mike in the first challenge. Just like, no,
To
you screwed yourself over again, two
be
seasons in a
fair,
row.
you could have been looking at all three codes. Come on.
If he'd have said, oh, I'm going for the third code here, like on my phone, I'm just looking at the first one. But however, mere seconds later, he was eliminated by Holly. So yeah, made no difference there. So yeah, Slaw taking out Noel, very funny. Then we have Strath eliminating Max.
More of a mercy kill, that one, I feel. Yeah. It's a rough way to go, isn't
I'm surprised that Sock survived the opening lot of eliminations in that
it?
challenge. Sock and Isaac, surely the biggest target on the board then.
Yeah, I really enjoyed after Sock just going off himself for taking him out. One of
Yeah,
my
I think
favourite bits of the episode.
yeah, probably a good choice for Zhao in the end. Will then eliminate Strath and Archie, and then this was cut, but it was a long time after Strath and Archie got eliminated that our final three pairs actually did anything. So
Yeah, it was. I remember that being in the garden. Just it was
yeah, Will, Holly, and
horrible.
Zhao were all very, very bad. Zhao was terrible, but Lucy was also unhelpful. Um,
What a pairing though. I mean, they won, so it's just
and
good strategy.
I think that's possibly the best possible outcome we could have hoped for. We could have dared to hope for from the first challenge, based off what happened later with the advantage. So Lucy and Zhao win the first advantage, and we go into the first immunity challenge. I did have some fan musings from the first episode. I did show this episode to a big Southampton fan, and I'll read out some of their thoughts and we'll see if they have anything interesting to say. So this is some of the thoughts that were taken throughout the episode by this person. Just to be clear, this wasn't me. We've already heard all of my thoughts from the start. Nobody was late this time. They think that was shady of me to say. That was a shout out to Sorensen, obviously from season 1.
Oh yeah.
Nobody started with a big target on their back. Paris and Billy doing an awkward little handshake is very funny, apparently. That's something to couple of Easter eggs there. Of course, Lenny gets the first confessional. Strath and Archie, what a wild combination! Very much Quavers and chocolate.
But sorry,
Um,
who is this that's given the?
this is my Survivor Samson super fan. The iconic Big Dog and Max refusing to strategize at all. So that wasn't like I didn't screw them over there. That was the only footage we had of them at all for that whole bit. Is like as the camera was panning around, it was like the perfect encapsulation of like the personalities of the player. First of all, they go up to you and Ben, you're being quite strategic. Then they go to like Holly and Slaw, they're like trying to figure it out between them. Then it goes to Will and Oscar. Will's just roasting everyone. Then it cuts to Noel and he's just laughing at how bad Sock's fucked up. Cuts to Sock and Isaac. Sock's just like, yeah, I've massively fucked this. And then it cuts to Big Dog and Max just very briefly. And Max just like, lovely shoes you've got there. Yeah, it was just absolutely perfect. So that's their thoughts for the first part. So I'm sure we'll come back to that. What were you feeling about Zhao and Lucy winning the first one? Did it mean too much to you? Were you just like, yeah, this advantage probably won't mean much?
Yeah, it's an advantage. It's normally something like just an extra vote or something shit. So I was like, not the end of the world. I mean, I would have loved to have won, but I would have been annoyed if it had gone to like Noel or something like that. But I thought it wouldn't even make a difference if we won. So
Okay, so the first individual immunity challenge. First of all, everyone's blindfolded. You choose Will as your caller. What was the reasoning behind that? Will said that it was because you'd said that he'd had a loud voice.
well, yeah, he's just a good speaker, isn't he? He's very authoritative. Is that the right word?
Okay.
Like, Will tells you to do something, you do it. And I think the blue team definitely picked correctly in draft.
A
That's the
strong
exact
pick from the
man
blue
you want for
team.
the like. He was born for the role, really, and I think Will was probably the second best person there to do the job. And he did do a very good job, to be honest.
I feel as though Will isn't very good at handling high pressure situations.
No, I thought he
I
did quite
think
well.
to,
Well, not on
to,
the puzzle, not on the puzzle.
to be fair,
Obviously,
you
not on the
guys,
puzzle.
you probably
That's
didn't
a
realize that
shame.
the challenge basically fully came down to the puzzle. And that was, yeah, probably it was hard for you guys to foresee that. But we'll get to that. What did you think of Will and Strath making a
It's a
cheeky little
difficult
deal?
puzzle.
Well, it was a tough
Oh
puzzle.
yeah, I mean, did they do anything with that? Not really, or did
I mean,
they
if anything,
back each
Strath
other up at the
said,
end?
Strath said at the end of the challenge, he was just like, if my team had lost, it would have been my fault because everyone else did very well, kind of making out that it was completely on Will. But I think maybe at the time they didn't realize that they wouldn't be in each other's strategy portions, so they wouldn't really be able to have too much bearing on the vote. But still, I think a good bargain to strike up. Why not? Were you expecting me to throw in some obstacles in the challenge, make it a little bit tougher?
Yeah, I thought the bench was incredibly harsh. I would have been fuming if I had to go under that fucking bench. It was so like you can't fit two people arm in arm under that. It's
I will
just
say,
ridiculous.
like it was in my mind. I was just like, I'll definitely put that out there. And then when I put it down, I was just like, it's not close to the ground than I remember. But
Yeah, I
people are
think
gonna have to go under that.
maybe a go over the bench would have been better. I'm glad I got sent the other way because I would not have been happy with you if I had to go down on the brick and crawl under. It was just tiny.
It was very small. I'm impressed Noel and Billy got under it together.
That shocked me. I just assume everyone cheated on that.
I think my original intention was to have each pair find one bag each.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
but I didn't explain that to them. So like they like and like Will in reality probably should have had you get the one on the tree at the back of the garden, and then on your way back, get the
Get the
one
other
under the
two.
chair, then the carabiner, and then bring it back. However,
Yeah.
he thought, let me send them out for one, then they come back. I'll make them go under the table unnecessarily, and then straight back under the table for no reason. I do feel as though Strath's tactics were better. I felt like he was able to multitask better than Will for that one.
Yeah, he was impressive watching that back. Also, I didn't realize I went that far into the garden. I thought I would have just been like near the front where the shrubbery starts, but we went right in there.
I will say, Will was so bad that you guys were actually helped by Holly and Max very generously bringing back one of your puzzle pieces for you, which was very good of them because you and Archie are probably making a third trip.
Thank God. It's quite awkward after we got the bag, so we all just stood around blindfolded, waiting for the challenge to end.
Or was it for some reason everyone gathered around the table? And at the time, I was just like, okay, well, in theory, none of you are supposed to be able to see. So I don't know why you're all gathered around the table as if you're all watching what's going on. Found that very funny. Some other personal highlights that I noted down, and feel free to throw some in if you saw them as well. Noel getting stuck on the washing line. Um, Strath thinking that Max is sock, and he kept yelling at him, and then at this point, Max and Holly are under the table, and then he bends down, recognizes Max's ass, and then realizes who he is. Ben walking into the basketball hoop was obviously a personal highlight. Archie also walking into it, and then Max and Holly blocking you and Archie.
Oh yeah, that was good.
Oh, and then of course Will forgetting the puzzle immediately after I showed him how to do it.
Yeah, they're very sad for our team.
How was it just being blindfolded the whole time? Was it just like I've got absolutely no clue what's going on this whole time? Was that how it felt?
Yeah, basically, I would have hated to be. Was it Chris and Isaac that just stood still for like 10, 15 minutes
Yep,
blindfolded? That would have
did
been
absolutely
awful. But at least I
nothing.
got to do some things. Yeah, it was all right. I think I would have rather been doing that than what Will was doing. 100%. Didn't want that kind of pressure on me.
Well, I was
Um,
going to say, is that partially one of the
so yeah.
reasons why you made Will be the leader?
Well, yeah, it's good to throw out someone that's not yourself.
Yeah,
And then no one will remember you suggesting them. They'll just see that person and let them take the fall. So
yeah, not a bad tactic.
I did genuinely think Will was the best man for the job.
Looking back on the challenge now, and obviously we'll come to later how you guys choose who to vote out, and there's a lot of words thrown around like so and so was at fault for the challenge. Looking back, does it seem more cut and dry as to whose fault the challenge was?
Oh yeah, it was Will's for not remembering the puzzle.
Yeah, I mean, it
Absolutely.
was very, very clearly, completely on Will.
Yeah, I mean, if Will had remembered the puzzle when Blue had lost, they'd be saying the exact same thing about Chef. Yeah, I think it's a very hard puzzle, but once you know the solution, it's quite easy because you just put that big triangle as the corner, and everything else sort of falls into place after that.
Yeah, I will say, of all of the puzzles that came up this season, this was the only one that genuinely beat me. And it's 5 pieces. And I've seen Survivor, so I knew where two of the pieces went. And even then, I sat down and I still couldn't do it.
Yeah, maybe it's harder than it looks though. That one
It was the one
triangle.
puzzle that beat me. Like we've got some tough puzzles coming up this season, and all of those are managed. But that 5 piece puzzle, I just couldn't do.
How long did you spend trying it?
I mean, at least a half an hour, and then I probably tried again the next day for another half hour or so.
Like
And then eventually, I was just
that
like,
is quite
Veronica
embarrassing.
must have somehow made this wrong. Um,
That is really embarrassing.
yeah, and then I went to speak to her, and I was just like, can you just show me how? Like, I'm clearly just doing something wrong here. And then she just showed me, and I was just like,
Yeah, that is tragic.
because obviously I knew where 2 pieces went, and then after I fail it for like the first 20 minutes, I'm just like, okay, well these 2 pieces clearly can't go here then. And then I just couldn't do it. It was yeah, it was a nightmare. Oh yeah, so when Holly and Max brought back the extra puzzle piece, like I didn't actually notice at the time. So they ended up like leaving it on the floor. And when I was like picking up the bags, I realized that there was a piece in it. So I just assumed that it was a bag that you guys had brought back. So I put it on the table. And it's not until I watched it back that they'd actually brought back the extra puzzle piece. So I then had to voice over the top to kind of make it a bit clearer as to what happened there. Um, so the voiceover was originally, oh, and Holly and Max have brought back Ruba's puzzle piece as well. And then I was just like, no, I got to redo that one. So it then became Holly and Max have brought back both tribes puzzle pieces. What a disaster for Merak. Got to make that a bit more dramatic. Also, Will just like giving up on the puzzle and leaving it to Lucy when she can't see is just absolutely beautiful. I've got some great Will Jeffrey quotes, which I'll pepper in. So far we've had Slaw's old, isn't he? So he's got that life experience. That was earlier on. Then we've got Lucy. I'm just going to have to trust that you're fine here. This is when she's doing the puzzle where she can't see and he can see. Then, guys, I'm struggling myself here. So from my perspective, Will's been a bit shafted here because obviously everyone's going to think he's the one that blew it. And to be fair, he completely did. Like if you're doing it
Yeah,
based off who
yeah,
failed the
yeah,
challenge, Will should have gone out. However, in my opinion, they're kind of two different things. Okay, so you failed the challenge, and then separately you now have to vote someone off. Like
yeah.
there's no reason why those two things have to be in any way connected. All right, so back to the camera work now that I was talking about earlier. So it's round one. And so Liam had come to me in between the seasons, and he was just like, "Oh, well, like I'd happily help film." And I was just like, and he was just like, "No, like I've watched season 1, like I've learned my lessons. Like I'm not going to be loud. I'm not going to do like I know what to do." And I was just like, "Okay, all right. Well, yeah, just make sure just standard stuff. Like literally just film them. Like I know you're good at asking some questions, so like do that at the appropriate times, etc., etc." So he's just like, "Sure." So not until I'm watching it back that I see that Liam is asking everyone questions throughout the strategy portion of the game, which is when you literally just hold the camera and just let it be filmed. Not particularly ideal. Like you can't have a cameraman throwing in their 2 cents as to how the group should strategize throughout the round. That seems a bit bullshit to me. So like Liam kept asking like, oh, who do you think's the strongest in the who do you think's the weakest in the who do you think failed the challenge? All of those things could be and maybe should be completely irrelevant as to who you're voting out. However, we begin by we see Will straight away running to Big Dog and Isaac, just like guys, no, you can't vote me out here. You can't vote me out here. It's got to be someone else. What's your perspective here? Do you think you guys could have done with losing Will straight away?
No, absolutely not. I did not want him to go. I really did not want him to go. I think with Will and your team, you back yourself to win it, win some challenges. Really, he's a natural winner. I was just going to take whatever the other option was and vote for that.
Yeah, I think it puts Will in a very interesting position from the start because first of all, like it's either he's 100% going to go and he's going to pick up every vote, or he kind of has all the power because he was the only one that actually saw what was going on throughout the challenge.
Yeah,
Um, so in
love
a way, it can kind of be up
loved
to
mine
him.
Archie's contributions.
he was absolutely loving you and Archie. He was just like, guys, under
Yeah,
no circumstances will I be voting for you two.
fair play. I guess we smashed it.
So yeah, clearly the two of you put in a bit of a shift. Um,
Yeah,
I thought, in
fair
my
play to
opinion,
us.
some quite nice dodging done by Isaac there. He was just like, yeah, me and Big Dog, we weren't given anything to do, so like we're kind of out of the equation, which I thought was quite subtly done by him. So maybe the most significant moment of the round, particularly pertaining to what ends up going down as the vote. So you, Isaac, and Big Dog end up in a little three, and Big Dog says, "Let's form an alliance." What's your reaction to that?
Over the moon. Over the moon, to be honest with you. Already thinking about teaming the man. And then he asked me. And we got Isaac in there as well. And I was just thinking, if we can just actually ally as a three, like we're gonna feel pretty safe during these like opening rounds. It's just nice to have people straight away on your side. Obviously, you can't fully trust it, but I came away from that talk feeling pretty good, um, and feeling like I could very much trust it. So I was very happy for the rest of the round. And I mean, comes up later. I think you see how happy I am at the voting section of the episode.
Okay, so first of all, we've got some more Will and Lucy drama. So Lucy finds out that Will's thrown out her name. What did you think of the conversation between Isaac, Slaw, and Divya, where Isaac's just like, yeah, so we'll kind of rank the pairs, and he's clearly trying to avoid saying to Lucy that she was the target, and then they're just like, yeah, so how did he rank the pairs? And then he's just like, he's really stalling. And then he's just like, yeah, so obviously me and Big Dog are kind of out of it, so we're not involved. He's just like, yeah, Lenny and Archie thought we're good. And then Slaw's just like, what about me and Faris? And he's just like, yeah, you kind of thought that you said that you guys did a good job as well. You're sort of second. Lucy was just like, yeah, and what about me and Divya? And he was like, still good, but maybe just
Yeah, unfortunate for him there. It's one of those
well,
ones where you say something and you realise who you stood with, and you
Lucy
just
getting tipped off
fucked.
immediately
Yeah.
there, and then Big Dog immediately running to Divya and snitching on Will to her was also very funny. It's like, yeah, Will seems to think you've done a bad job here.
Not ideal for Will. Probably
I'd
only.
quite like to know. I'd quite like to know what you think of because we cut to a Big Dog intro package where he says that strong players like Sorensen were voted out because they didn't form alliances, whereas weak players like Lenny did and made it far.
I'd argue that he's completely correct. Sorensen, in my opinion, could have gone on to win that series had he even one ally in the game. That's all he needed. A pair of Sorensen and Noel. That's your final two right there. If they teamed up, yeah, just wasn't
Damn.
to be.
What did you think of Slaw openly throwing your name out?
I would have done the same to him if the roles were reversed. But yeah, he played quite well because I did not think he was against me at all. Not until watching the episode about 10 hours ago did I realise he was out to get me, which that was it was actually quite upsetting, I'd say. Watching it back, I thought we were getting on great that day, but it's all just a ruse.
More just great content from Will. Just throwing out so many different people's names was absolutely beautiful. He was willing to throw out, I believe he said Lucy, Divya, Slaw, and Archie throughout that strategy section, which is half of the remainder of the tribe he was willing to throw under the bus.
Yeah, fair play to him. I feel like he was in a tight spot, just trying to throw anything, see if anything would stick. Gotta
Also,
respect it.
when when Divya is trying to protect Lucy, and because Lucy gives her a bit of flack later, Divya, to be fair, was trying to protect Lucy, and Will's just like, well, who do you think we should vote out then? Who do you think underperformed when he was the one that completely blew the challenge? Was I thought very funny from Will.
Just a funny man.
At this point, we cut to a Faris confession. I just wanted to highlight his Sorensen-esque close-ups of his face. So thank you, Faris, for bringing that to the game.
Was he doing it on purpose or?
But perhaps it was an homage to Sorensen. I don't know, or it could have just been he was trying to sort of do it covertly and therefore was speaking quietly. One more thing that I will get your take on. What did you think about Slaw openly gaslighting you? And I made sure to subtitle it because I didn't want it to sweep by. When you ask him what names he's heard, and he says, "Oh, I've heard Lucy, I've heard your name, I've heard Divya, I've heard Will," and then you're like, "Oh, who said my name?" He's just like, "I didn't say I'd heard your name."
Yeah, it's him fucking throwing it out.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
not heard it, he's been saying it. Unbelievable. But yeah, well, he clearly got someone to vote for me. So yeah, I think coming to the voting thing, turns out none of that strategy mattered at all because of the advantage. Meant that the two people who are actually being talked about just got to get up and leave, which was quite heartbreaking at the time.
I'm not sure I could have hoped for better, to be honest. One more thing. So at the time, it seemed unclear to the rest of the tribe that Will had seen the puzzle get solved and then forgot how to solve it. Lucy and Slaw were both there at the time, so they sort of either sort of overheard it or witnessed to it. How aware were you of this at the time?
I'm not sure I was that aware. I don't think me and Archie were particularly paying attention to the end of the challenge. I think if you actually see us in the video, we're just like sort of facing the wrong way, stood not that close to the table. So
There
I
was also a
don't
lot
know.
of singing going on at the time from the other
Oh,
players.
that's true. Oh yeah, I couldn't tell you what me and Archie were doing, but I don't think I was aware that Will fucked it quite as badly as he did.
So Lucy reads out her advantage. So what is your reaction immediately to hearing that Lucy can then get four people to leave? Are you just like, oh, okay, we'll vote off Will then?
Yeah, yeah, I was feeling safe. I was like, Will. Felt bad for Will, but very quickly, turns out don't have to feel bad for him because he's also been taken out of the equation. Which, to be honest, I mean, a good move. Take your worst enemy, turn them into your ally. People don't expect that, but if it was me, I would have left Will there to be eaten by the rest of the other four that get left
Well, that's the
behind.
thing. Like he
Um,
wouldn't have been eaten because he would have played his idol, surely, at that point.
oh, did he have one at that point? Oh yeah, he caught one at the start
Sorry,
of
I
the game.
clearly
Yeah,
I
sorry.
clearly didn't make it clear enough in his Chiron that it said one
No,
idol next to his name.
no. Yeah, as soon as I said that, I was like, yeah, no, I am aware of that. I've just well, it probably would have ended up with yeah,
I think at that point
probably
it
for
really
the
depends on
for
who
the
gets left
best.
behind. I imagine it's just a 4-1 vote on Will. Will plays his idol, and then it's whoever Will votes for that goes. So probably like an
Will wants
Archie
to
or
vote for. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think at that point.
Yeah, I think Archie was unbelievably caught in the crossfire there because no one had talked about him at all. And there was five people left, and three of them, me, Isaac, Big Dog, had agreed to all work together. And we all looked at each other like, oh, we're safe. We're absolutely fine. So we just waited for either Archie or Faris, whoever we wanted to, really. Did Faris to vote for me?
Yeah, let
It
me show you the
was,
voting
wasn't it?
history
Yeah,
for this one. Let
brick.
me let me share this. Yeah, so this is the voting history for the game.
Yeah, cop to vote already. Archie was just he was so unlucky to go out like this. I think
Yeah, it
he'd
was
done
it, it
nothing
was
wrong.
definitely sad to see
Yeah,
him go.
just
I will
just
say,
really poor
in
luck.
my Survivor Southampton season 2 cast predictions, which I made before the game, that video hasn't been uploaded yet, but I will show it, and at some point, probably after the season's ended, we can look back and see how well I did. But I did. Spoiler alert for my cast assessment. Faris was my winner pick, so I was absolutely devastated to look at that and be like, there's a strong chance that Faris leaves first here, and I've cursed him. So I did breathe a bit of a sigh of relief when I saw that he was saved. But either way, still absolutely gutting to say goodbye to Archie straight away.
Well, not for me. I was quite happy with it. So I was very happy with Archie going. To be honest, if it's not me, I didn't want Faris to go.
Looking back on it, how does it feel that Faris took a shot at you straight away? He clearly thought, without anyone saying anything, surely we'll just vote off Lenny here, right?
It was quite upsetting. I just didn't expect to be. I honestly thought Archie had the right idea going for Faris. I thought maybe me, Big and Isaac gave the game away. That we were all just going to vote for those two just by the way we were glancing at each other. But Faris didn't notice. But it's fine. I'm still here. Still alive. I don't think Lucy could have picked better people to put in there. If she'd split up me, Isaac, and Big Dog, I would have been scared in that five. But yeah. She did basically perfectly for us.
Should we just say a few words about Archie? Obviously, in this season, there is a redemption challenge coming up. So that will come up later in the season. So obviously, still a chance that we see Archie again, that we get him back in the game. But obviously, we certainly won't get him for the rest of the pre-merge. So should we just mourn his loss? I felt like he had a couple of great confessionals straight off the bat. He did get the episode title with Squares are Difficult Shapes. So I felt like we had a lot of good sound bites from him that we missed out on there.
Gone too soon. Very unlucky. Looking forward to the game. So it's sad for him he's going to miss out on the whole of the first day, potentially even more the whole weekend. You've got to feel for him, but it is very funny at the same time.
Yeah, I was upset to see him go. Um, that's the thing. Like you get everyone together, then you're just like, oh, like this is great fun. Like we've got all these fun challenges and stuff, and then you forget that like someone's gonna have to go first. Like they're gonna miss out on a lot of stuff, and then like the next couple of people to
Yeah.
go, like, you just feel bad for them. It's just like, oh man, it's like there's so much good stuff.
But when you're in the game, I'm telling you right now, I did not feel bad for Archie in the slightest at any point. I was just happy it wasn't me.
Do you think that there is anything that Archie could have done, firstly in the strategy section, and then secondly, is there anything he could have said at tribal council at the end to save himself?
No, I think so. I think it was just a 50-50 on him on Faris on which one we voted for. I think if either got voted out, there was nothing they could have. Because if Archie said anything, that would have just made me want to vote for him more.
Sad to see Archie go. So at this point, do you have any ideas of what's going to happen for yourself in the future for the game? Are you just like, yeah, Big Dog and Isaac will be good now, or are you more concerned? You're just like, oh, maybe Faris will want to go for us or something.
No, I was very, very happy. Yeah, I think it really solidified us as a trio in the game. I felt like after that, it was clear that we were all working together, and it probably built quite a lot of trust between the three of us. So I think that was probably the ideal result for me that round. Yeah, very, very happy with the outcome.
Oh, let me see if our resident fan had any comments about what happened.
Who's this
Uh,
resident fan? Is it Faris?
no, it's not Faris. Faris was in the game.
Well, I don't know whether is it someone I know?
No, no, it's an external fan. Um, all right,
External fan.
here's their analysis from the strategy plus trouble council section. So, Will running to the boys immediately to do some epic skin saving. Uh,
Oh, it's just you, isn't it? It's just you.
no, it's not me. It's not me. I've given my comments. But
Oh, this
do you think I would have said, Lucy, drop the skincare routine, please? You're glowing. Do you think that would have been one of the points that I would have made? Also, Archie getting beckoned in. We see who the alphas are, and it's Lenny. There you go.
did I beckon him in?
I think it was more Will, but it's definitely yeah, you and Will apparently. Oh, they were just a big fan of Liam Lou zooming in on spots on people's faces. Liam rogue camera angles Lou was bandied about in the chat. Oh, also this was a discussion that they were making. We've heard Lenny, sorry, not Lenny, and Slaw then putting his hand on your shoulder. They were like, that's surely a big power move right there, and it was masterfully done by Slaw.
Yeah, I can't believe you got away with that. I really should have grilled him a little bit more, more on that one. Sort of
The
just
the
let it
hand on the
pass.
shoulder though was just a
Yeah, I was
perfect touch
just
from Slaw.
probably just quite intimidated by all.
General chit chat about Mario Kart last time. Savage, apparently that was you that said that.
Shout out Mark Duncombe.
Yeah, sad not to have Mark back, to be
No, that
honest.
would have been. I think he would have been quite good if he'd stayed in. Well,
If
good fun.
any prospective season three players are watching, Mark will surely get a call up. Lucy saving Will first here is a nice touch. At the time, I was very surprised at Lucy saving Will straight away. They thought you came in hot with your confessional where you were slating the format.
So it's very Australian Survivor of you, just to ruin the entire 12 minutes of strategy before by just what with everyone you were thinking about voting for, they're not here anymore. So just vote on one of the five you at random.
Well, I mean,
It's a
it is an
shafting.
advantage taken straight from Australian Survivor, Brains versus Brawn.
Yeah, of course it is.
King
Of
George
course it fucking is.
at King George's first ever tribal
Yeah.
council, they're all going to vote him off, and he finds that at the water well beforehand, and then he just picks all like the six weakest people in the tribe and just saves them all.
The cockroach. Yeah.
Yeah, very funny. Good work from King George there. They thought that I had quite a nice stern face as I was reading the votes. I was mainly just relieved that my winner pick wasn't going home first. And yeah, I was also very sad to lose Archie. On Archie's vote out, I will say, you guys absolute bastards didn't clap him off. I had to edit in that clap from a different part.
Oh, Isaac does a really funny, like, goes to clap and then just does.
I think for any future prospective players, if this ever happens again, I think what happens as someone's voted off, like I read out their name, just like next player voted out for Southampton is Archie. Then as he stands up, clap at respect. Then you pause the clap, Archie. The tribe has spoken. Time for you to go. He walks out. That's how you do it. Also, if you're going to get voted off, if it was me getting voted off, I'd like you got to make a bit of a meal of it, and I don't understand why people didn't because like when I'm editing it in, it's so much easier if people take a while to get up and leave. It's so much easier for the music cues if that happens. Like if it's me, I'm getting up, couple of hugs, couple of handshakes for the people that did particularly well, hugs for my allies still in the game. Then
Yeah,
you've
yeah,
got
okay, maybe later in the game, but I'm not being funny. I don't think I actually had time for any of that. So I think
no,
it's
it's round one. At that point, you can wish everyone luck for the rest of the game.
no. If I got a round one, I'd be getting out. I'd be off. You better believe I wouldn't have stuck around to film. I would have fucked right off.
You straight up just lock yourself in your room, which we were trying to use for filming. It's like, no, no one's allowed in.
I would have just sat on my bed, sulking. A team would come up every now and then when they win a challenge, and I wouldn't speak to any of them.
Oh God. Any other final thoughts on the episode? Was there anything that you watched back you were just like, oh, I was surprised that happened?
I mean, I still think my biggest shock is that I went right to the back of the garden. I had no idea. Absolutely no idea. In my mind, I literally went to the front of where the nettles and stuff start. I'm just so confused by that.
Well, there you go. That's the magic of Survivor, isn't it? Do you have? And
Yeah.
obviously, I dropped a little teaser for the next episode. Do you have a tease for anyone listening to this that hasn't seen episode two? Anything to lure them back into episode two?
Yeah, I think it's quite interesting dynamics on that tribe, especially with four being taken out. You think that's going to be a sort of, you would think like probably could be a natural sort of alliance, those four being saved, and then you've got the three left who all just banded together to get rid of Archie or Faris. We didn't really care who, and then you got Faris, the lone wolf. And you can pick whichever side he chooses in that battle. So I think, yeah, the Reds have got a lot going on. And it'd be nice to just see some blues as well. You know, I've not had enough Max Berline so far for my liking.
I'm excited to see a bit more blues content, to be honest. Yeah, first episode it was tough. Like I had to introduce a lot of different players because like you want to be able to like put in most people's intro videos. Obviously, it's not
Mm.
possible when there's 18 players to do it in the first episode. And then it was more interesting this time because like the biggest characters from the episode, the beauty of this advantage was that all of the big characters from the episode that are getting targeted then survive. So then you have to like introduce a couple of other players that were like people like Archie and Faris who wouldn't have been that involved in the first episode. So I would have introduced them in later episodes. But then suddenly they're the ones that are getting decided between. So I then have to introduce them as well. So yeah, certainly a lot of interesting stuff to come. Lot of fun stuff. So yeah, looking forward to episode two.
And it's episode two out a week after episode one.
Yeah,
Excellent.
that's definitely how I do it to start off with. Maybe later on in the season we can get a bit faster, but yeah, certainly for now.
Very exciting. Well, I can't wait.
Excellent start to the season. I think in terms of the strategy of the game, I'm already very excited to see what happens. I think Lucy and Will, two very big characters from the first episode, both surviving. I look forward to
Yeah,
seeing them interact in the
yeah,
future. I look forward to seeing more
yeah.
Max Berline next episode. I think that's when we get to start seeing him a bit more again.
I think the production quality and the quality of the gameplay has gone up, and so it just makes it far better to watch, I'd
Mm.
say. I'm excited right from the start, where the first few rounds last time, but I think we're past that this time. High octane from the start.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining me, Lenny. And yeah, I look forward
Pleasure.
to speaking to you soon.